All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call to order the April 23rd, 2024 meeting of the City of Charleston Traffic and Transportation Committee. Thank everybody for being here and begin with a moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right, first order of business, approval of minutes. I think I saw them come over online today. Got a motion a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Oh, in fact, Councilmember Brady is online. Thank you. Next is the Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program, ATIP presentation. Mr. James. Welcome. Any prelude to this one, Mr. Somerville, or no? Okay. Get right to it.
All right. Well,
Yes, sir. Welcome.
good afternoon, committee. I'm Kyle James. I'm a regional planner at B-City COG, and we've been trying to track different federal funding opportunities that might apply to projects that have been proposed for a while. So this particular funding opportunity is for Rethink Folly Road. And just kind of the two authorization programs that we've been looking at are Bill and IRA. This particular one comes from Bill. And there's a number of projects that potentially, or number of funding programs that could potentially fit with the Rethink Folly Road phase 2 and 3. But the ones that we've identified as the best fit and most competitive are Complete Streets funding from CHATS, Transportation Alternative set aside from CHATS, the Safe Streets and Roads for All. But today I want to present on ATIP. So it's a silly long acronym here of Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program. But what makes this particular funding program unique is that this might be the only time it comes around. It was originally scheduled to have $200 million over 5 years, but right now we're looking at 44.5 million. So it gives us a little window to apply. And that might also kind of hold off other competition for it, given that it's new and not a lot of people know about it yet. So we're proposing for Rethink Folly phase 2 and 3 to go after design funding. There is the possibility to go after construction funding, but it's particularly difficult to meet their match requirements for it, since it would have to end up with a total project cost between 15 and 19.5 million and a minimum match of 17.5 million. So on the planning and design side, we just need to provide a 20% match, but there is incentives within the evaluation criteria to go above that. And that's somewhat unusual for federal funding opportunities. So we would be ideally looking for somewhere between 25 and 30% as an overall match from multiple agencies. And as we've discussed this with the Rethink Folly Steering Committee meeting, the town of James Island has said that they're willing to pitch in up to 30,000, even though none of phase 2 and 3 goes through their town boundary. And Charleston County is currently considering what federal or non-federal match that they're willing to provide. B-City COG can help lead the grant writing for this particular application. Either B-City COG or a municipality can submit the application. So there's some flexibility there. It is due on June 17th. And here's just kind of a quick rundown of the initial items that we'd like to cross off before we can officially start the grant writing process on May 1st. That is, as a collective unit, deciding that phase 2 and 3 design is what we want to go after or some other scope. Second, identifying where that at least minimum 20% match will come from, and then getting out letters of support to help kind of clarify that. So that's the stage that we're at. We want to see if this is of interest to the city of Charleston and if they're willing to put in a non-federal match component to it.
Can I ask you a question? You used the term collective unit. Is that the county, town of James Island, city of Charleston?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
B-City COG is a grant writing partner.
Okay, but not a funding partner.
Correct.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Is that it?
My question probably.
How about, can you use your microphone, please, council member? Thank you.
I'll ask it anyway. So can this grant be used, at least the planning portion of it, to talk about extending the Carter Rapid bus?
LCRT.
Yes. Can
That's not an eligible activity for this particular
not,
grant.
okay.
It's just active transportation for this one. So walking and biking only, unless you're talking about sidewalks, but even then the proximity for the Folly Road corridor wouldn't be a good fit, but maybe another application for walking and biking infrastructure related to LCRT could be a good fit.
So just walking and biking as opposed to other means of transportation?
Yep. That's why this is a unique federal
Okay.
opportunity.
Just thought I'd throw it out there. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember McBride? I know we've got Councilmember Brady. I see Councilmember Parker. I see that. I just want to get to Councilmember Brady first, then we'll get to Councilmember Parker.
I'm good.
Okay, Councilmember Parker, I see you've got your hand up. You have a question?
Yes, and thanks Kyle for being there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks Kyle for being there. Can you go to the first slide again? I think I may have missed it. All right, thank you. Oh, second one maybe. And again, can you tell us one more time what the match is again? The match
Yeah.
need.
It depends on if you're doing planning and design versus construction, but for planning and design, it's a minimum 20% match. So the total project cost that we're looking at for design for phase 2 and 3 is 1 million. So we're looking at a minimum match of 200,000. To be competitive, we think we need to be closer to 300,000.
Okay. And that's between all the municipalities or just the city's portion?
Between all three. That's correct. With town of James Island offering up potentially 30,000 of that.
So we're
200 to 300,000.
So we're 270 short for between the county and the city.
Correct.
And that would just be for the design portions of phases 2 and 3.
Yeah, it'd be to finalize some planning things and to get to about 90% design.
I mean, if that's a project we're going to do anyway, we're going to have to come up with 100% of it. So any amount backed off of that is probably good. Do we actually have to identify to some certain the match before this application is put in?
Yes,
So really, we don't have much time.
Correct.
not a lot till June 17th.
Okay. How did you all sort of focus in on this particular project as something that you would use as a centerpiece of this application?
Yeah, actually, we've identified a handful of projects that are eligible for this particular funding program. Rethink Folly we think it'll be competitive in that we're demonstrating multi-jurisdictional coordination, which not many of the other projects have. And phase 1 is near construction. So we can show that there's already some momentum behind this project.
Okay. Any other questions from any member of the committee? I guess our work is, or your work is to work around the municipalities in the city to see if there's any money out there.
That's right.
All right. Got it. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Councilmember Gregory.
Pretty soon.
It looks to me like they want to have the application up and running by June 1st or so to get it in by the middle of June, right?
We want to have a verbal commitment by May 1st that this is of interest to the city and Charleston County.
You do realize that is Monday?
That is right.
So you need a verbal commitment
Yeah, we want to
of
see
dollar amount?
we need some demonstration of interest because it'll take about 80 hours to write this application.
Well, I could make a motion that we have real interest and we'll work with staff to determine what capacity we might have to be able to contribute.
Motion for the mayor of interest with more information to come, seconded by Councilmember Gregory. It seems to me, Mr. Mayor, along with that, we ought to express our interest and also express that we will make some contact with the county. We're gonna need some help from the county on this too, right? Okay, great. So we've got a motion for the mayor of expressing interest with conversation with the county in advance. I see Councilmember Parker's got her hand up. Just make sure, Councilmember Parker, give me 1 second here. Any other member of the committee have any comment over the motion and the second?
Yeah, question.
Okay, Councilmember Gregory, please use your microphone. Thank you.
Are you also making this presentation to the county and trying to get the county to do a commitment as well?
They have not asked for a presentation, but through our Rethink Folly Steering Committee meeting, we've made them aware of this a month and a half ago.
Okay, and have they made a verbal commitment?
They have not.
Well, here's a question. Is there a county council member on the steering committee?
There is.
Who is it?
Councilmember Boykin is vice chair of the steering committee.
Okay, well, probably a good idea to have a chat.
I'm going to be on a bus with them for 4 hours tomorrow. So
Perfect. Got to get something underneath that hat. All right, Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the county is aware and they are working on coming up with their portion as well.
Whatever that might be. Okay, well, we've got some work to do. We've got this expression of interest. We'll bring it forward to council tonight and let them know that we've expressed as a committee. We're about to see if that's unanimous, and we'll see how that goes from there. All right, any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Unanimously, we have expressed our interest in you being successful in writing this grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is my favorite, single signal maintenance agreement with the SCDOT and the city of Charleston. I see Ms. Copeland's name on this. I did see Mr. Mitchell back in the corner there. Who wants to speak about this? We can flip a coin. All right, thanks.
So this is a standard agreement for the traffic signal maintenance. This extends our contract with them for 1 year, starting April 1st through March 31st, 2025 as the initial period. And after that term, then we get 4 additional 1-year options. And the only difference in this maintenance agreement is, of course, the money. They're throwing in some additional funds, but that is to cover the 2 additional intersections, which Mr. Mitchell's happy to talk to you guys about if you have any questions.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, come on forward. For those of you new to the committee and relatively new to council, I don't know if you all met Troy Mitchell, but introduce yourself, please, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Troy Mitchell. I am the Signal Systems Operations Manager. And I oversee the signal system from the TMC that we have at 180 Lockwood. The SMA has two additional intersections, which is Glen McConnell at Essex Farms, which has been added, and also Maybank Highway at Fenwick Hall. With this agreement, it has allowed the city to manage those signals, but also upgrade the signals, as Councilman Seekin can speak on, with the area that he's very concerned about on our previous project for communication and advanced traffic controllers that's been installed and completed along Cumming Street.
All right, any questions for Mr. Mitchell? I see a hand up from Councilmember Brady. Yes, sir.
Yes, the Essex Farms light at Glen McConnell, my new favorite thing. I know Councilmember Shealy and I have been getting a lot of feedback on that, both from folks who use, and Councilmember Bowden's not on, but I know he's been getting feedback as well from people that are coming from Grand Oaks and Shadow Moss, and then I get feedback from people in Carolina Bay. And it seems like, and I watch Google Maps in the morning because I don't out that way from Carolina Bay, but I watch the Google Maps. It seems like Magwood is the holdup, and so I just have a question about the signal timing in that area, and we can do this afterwards, but just want to know kind of what's going on with that, because we're getting constant, people either can't leave the neighborhood like Carolina Bay, or people can't go free flow down Glen McConnell, because Glen McConnell is pretty open after Magwood, but everything seems to jam up going to that intersection. So just wondering, as part of the maintenance agreement, like where we're looking on how those lights get timed or prioritized and that type of thing.
To answer a question in layman's terms, is that because of the new construction that happened along the corridor and changes done to the 3 signals before Magwood, the city, the DOT, and Charleston County has been looking at those signals to get those to match what is with Magwood, since That's the existing start of coordination along that corridor. And it's still a work in progress because that project is not over with. And there's still things that are ongoing at this time, but we're aware of it and we're working on, together to try to solve this issue.
Any follow-up?
thank you.
Councilman? Okay, doesn't sound like any follow-up. Any other questions for Mr. Mitchell or Ms. Copeland?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
just
Councilmember
for my,
McBride.
thank you. Just for my edification again. So this is a contract for us to manage basically two lights, right? That's what you're, or,
No, this is to manage the DOT signals.
right,
These two additional would bring it up to like 200
okay.
11 intersections.
Got it now. That's what I thought that we already, yeah, okay. So this is Federal Call LE lights and the other one you mentioned are SCDOT added them, but we weren't yet managing them until.
That is correct.
I got you now. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we need a motion and a second on this. All right, we got a motion from the mayor and a second from Councilmember Gregory. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
All right.
All right.
Pardon me? The mayor made the motion. Councilmember Gregory was the second. Okay, looks like we've got two certificates of public convenience and necessity. Mr. Mathis. 5 and
Yes.
6.
Yes, sir. Just as you mentioned, we have a couple of applications. The first one is Trident Transportation Services. It would be a limousine application. The second one, number 6, is Wendy Grant, Charleston Reliable Transportation. And that would be for a taxi.
All right,
And we've reviewed these with legal and everything is good to go.
all right, do I have a motion for 5 and 6?
Second, motion to take them together.
Great.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Move for
Um,
approval.
We did 5
You
and
don't need
6 together. No, we did them together.
I thought you had to do on.
Well, one more motion to approve both. Motion
All
second.
right,
Look at you.
all right,
I mean, no
all
longer a
right.
rookie. No longer a rookie.
Such a parliamentarian.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Let's have it. Ms. Copeland ran out the room. I was going to adjourn. I was going to ask her a quick question, but sure, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Discussion not on the agenda, but would like for this committee to, with the chairman's blessing, to take it up. One has to do with prioritization of the proposed projects and the county's half-cent sales tax referendum. That is something I think we as a city need to pay some attention to because as currently contemplated, that there will not be enough funds to address all of the proposed projects, and the county is going to come up with language on their proposed ballot in November defining what projects they're prioritizing. So we need, as a city, need to be ahead of that and need to discuss it. And as I understand, based on the meeting I had with the county last week, their first reading of the language for the proposed ballot measure is at the end of May. So I've asked staff, Robbie and his team, to dig into some of the numbers for us in terms of traffic counts and where the biggest pinch points are so that we can advocate for those projects that would best enhance and provide for the city of Charleston. Because again, this is our infrastructure dollars for the next 25 years. So we need to pay close attention to it. So if I may, would like to have that on next.
Yeah, let's put that
agenda.
on our next agenda. We did get a presentation from the county while they were doing their public presentations. So let's make sure that's part of our packet, know what projects are out there that are being proposed by the county. I don't know, Mr. Mayor, if there's anything you want to add in addition to what the county's already proposed, but we can certainly take that up too.
Primarily with what we've tasked staff with, which is just trying to do some high level math on traffic counts and, you know, where the science is showing us the biggest pinch points would be.
Okay, well, great. Let's get that on our next agenda and we will take it up as a actionable item for a recommendation back to the county about our priorities for what will end up on that referendum to the extent it goes forward. Sure, please.
I met with staff and they have presented some initial concepts for some of the major roadways in West Ashley for providing, is it the Safe Streets program or
Is a road safety audit?
road safety audit? These are some pretty impactful plans, that as currently proposed aren't, I wouldn't say enhancing the built environment, aesthetically. So we might want to look at expanding upon this, working with DOT, who I think they're open to. But I think this would be a good committee to bring that for discussion purposes, because it's going to have a pretty big impact across West Ashley. So just wanted to bring the committee's attention.
We can certainly take that up as well. I see Councilmember Brady has his hand up. Councilmember Brady?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think to the mayor's point, and I just want to ask a point of clarification. Is it worth our committee, to his point about kind of looking at the pinch points and everything, to provide to the county a list of where the city thinks the priority projects are, so that they have just a firm understanding and also kind of a sense of council type thing, that these are the projects that the city believes are the ones that would have the most return on investment in terms of, improving, mobility in the city and that type of thing, rather than just hearing about them, like maybe taking a little action and giving that to the county.
Yeah, so I think Councilmember Brady maybe got a little bit lost in translation, but at the mayor's request and recommendation, that's exactly what we're going to do at our next TNT meeting. In the meantime, city through staff is going to compile a list of projects that are prioritized, and we're going to do it just as you described it in your question.
Okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were just going to look at what the county wanted to prioritize versus us providing a recommendation.
We're going to take an active, not passive role on this one, I believe is what the mayor wants us to do. And I think we're unanimously in favor of that. So when are we
That is a refreshing change of pace. Thank you.
Yes. When's our next TNT meeting? Is it second Tuesday of May? Okay. That's close, but that probably is going to be the amount of time that's going to be needed for staff to put this all together, right? Okay, let's find out. If we need to do a meeting before that, we can certainly put one together. Okay. All right with the committee, just keep an eye on your emails, and we'll see if we need to ramp this up a little bit in advance. We can certainly have a TNT meeting before our next city council meeting. I think we've got still got notice time. So, okay, no problem. Yes, sir. Councilmember McBride.
The county compiled public inputs. We know this already. So on the 18th, they put out a really detailed report. If we don't have it, I can email it out. We know about it. Okay.
And they've gone out in the public and they've done a fairly detailed presentation and tried to prioritize, I believe.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting for you to see it.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if the mayor mentioned this, the projections on this referendum, the amount of monies collected over its lifetime is 5.3 billion. That's almost 2.5 times the current referendum. So it's a big amount of money with a lot of big projects out there.
Right. And to that end, though, there are about, I can't remember the exact number of projects, but it's about total of about 2.3 billion in projects, but only 811 million in remaining funds. So
that's after 526 and LCRT.
yes.
So
And parks. Yeah.
This brief I'll email to everybody is from just a few days ago. County, they compiled all the public comments, but they also, actually that's from a newsletter from John's Own Advocate. He kind of laid that out, that the amount of money left over, despite the list of potential projects outside of the 526 extension, they can only fund about a small percentage of that.
I think that one of the main points on this, though, I want to be very clear on this. We need to get our information from staff, and there are a lot of advocacy groups that are pushing this and pushing that. And it's important, and I want to emphasize this, that we have the objective data so that we can make informed decisions that isn't tainted in any way.
Oh, yes, sir. Councilmember Gregory.
I'm talking about the Ashley River Bridge. Both.
Just
throwing it out there.
Well, I'm not sure. On the county level, probably the Ashley River bridges, no, because those are DOT roads, right? So I think, unfortunately, probably not. And
Will we be able to use some of those dollars for matching if we get the money from the federal government to do it?
that I have no idea.
Doing things now. Okay.
Something we can look to when we come back, and we'll answer any questions.
Yeah,
that
and
you've got.
lastly, can we check this meeting instead of 3:00?
Well, I was gonna bring that up at the very end, unless we have something really big, 3:30. Can we just schedule these for 3:30 instead of 3? Because that just bumps us right up to Ways and Means. We don't have a big gap time in between. Because we try to be an hour at most, so if it, 3:30, yeah, right. The mayor doesn't have very far to go, but some others do. One other thing, and I see Ms. Copeland here, I just want to report to the committee, I believe that even short of second and third reading, the pedicab applications have gone out. I think I'm right about that. So I think Ms. Coulthard's told me that. So it's active. They're out there. We're moving forward. And I hope tonight we'll get second and third reading for that ordinance, and then we'll be all good to go. So unless there's anything for the greater good or for the committee, I by acclamation will declare this meeting to be adjourned. Thank you all very much. And